Hey folks, please enjoy this clip from our show, which you can find every single day at 4 p.m. Eastern exclusively on Rumble. We've been doing the best shows we've ever done, completely free of censorship and on a platform that actually supports us. You can also support us on Locals, where you can access a ton of exclusive content, movie riffs, as well as an archive of over 1,000 full episodes going back as far as 7 years. We've also teamed up with Merch Engine to bring you a new lineup of really awesome quality shirts, hoodies, and now even hats. So come check out our untethered, uncensored show on Rumble every single weekday at 4 p.m. Eastern. You stupid idiots.
Thank you for staying with us, guys. We appreciate it. We are back live exclusively on the Rumble side, by the way. So thank you for being here. We appreciate it. Mersh, would you introduce our guest, and I'll make sure I pull it up.
All right, folks. You said it was never going to happen. The meeting that was never going to happen. Ladies and gentlemen, Big Bear, Mr. Owen Benjamin.
What's up, man?
Actually on the show.
We really
Thanks for having me, guys.
What's up, man?
We really do appreciate you coming on, man. Thank you.
Long time no chat.
It has been a bit. How you doing?
I'm good, bro. I just got done with my stream, and let's chat. Let's do it. Let's bury the hatchet.
Listen, man.
Look, we've been trying to do this for a while.
So shout out to Top Lobster, by the way.
Top Lobster.
I know
Yeah.
he really should been trying to make it happen.
It's like one of those mafia sit downs where he's like, "Look, I guaranteed everyone's safety. All right, so everyone sit down and talk." I'm like, "Yeah, it's fine," because we reached out a while back. We're like, "You think you could get Owen on?" And he's like, "I'll ask." But oh man, I was like, "All right, well, if you can't, you can't." But no, it's good to have you on. I mean, I'm sure as many of our listeners know. We had our little dust-ups back in the day.
Yeah.
But I will say this, and I've been, for over 2 years now, I have been giving you credit when we always say on the show, I'm like, look, we gave Owen Benjamin a lot of shit as he ran off into the mountains to milk goats with his wife and kids. And then, boom, COVID happened.
And then
it immediately happened
on
after.
our show, we were like, oh, fuck
Son
me.
of a bitch.
God damn it.
Come on, man.
We were like, all right, look, we talked a lot of shit.
But man. I don't hold grudges at all. I don't hold grudges as long as people just admit it. Like, you guys were ahead of the curve for me on like Crowder being fruity and shit like that.
There you go. Oh man, the Crowder stuff is what's one of the things where, even though at the time we were talking shit, we were both like, okay, Crowder's gay, right? Like, for sure, right? And we're like, oh yeah, he's definitely. And then
there's this video of like one of you guys' listeners trying to tell me that.
That was me.
And we're ahead of me on the Crowder fruity shit. I'm like, no, dude, he's just really like muscular and.
By the way,
like once I saw it, I was like, holy shit, this guy's like aggressively.
Okay.
But I genuinely didn't see it. Like, that's the thing. If people know me, it's like, I'm never grifting or lying. I can be retarded, but I'm like, no, man, this is great. And then I'll see something and be like, oh, I was totally wrong about that whole thing. And that's how people make up. Like, I don't mind fights as long as like the next day people are like, yeah, man, sorry, I did piss in your beer. Like, whatever it is, just admit it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, just like, don't mess with my money, don't mess with my family.
That's the part.
Then, you know what I mean? If you don't mess with my money or my family, I'm not gonna mess with your money. Just but goofing on each other and just kind of that's what we do. We have to all make content.
It's by the way, I meant to ask you. I've been following you on Twitter for a bit, but I noticed that looks like you're under Fuentes' skin again, huh? I was
fruity boy.
I was laughing. I saw you tagged Milo in one of the things. That was pretty funny. So what's going on with Fuentes? What happened? I really kind of missed out. What's?
Oh, he's a gay guy. He wears boys size suits.
What happens with me is I don't know why people poke at me. I'm like, dude, I'm looking for material every day too. It's like, so Fuentes, somebody on his live stream was asking him about me. They're like, oh, because I always thought he was kind of funny. I mean, I used to think he was super fruity, and I went at him for a while. And then I was like, you know what? He's got funny delivery. It's all good. Mm-hmm. And then like some guy asked, like, why don't you do a stream with Owen Benjamin? And he's like, wow. And he does this whole thing. And he's just like, he threatened to kill my family for 2 years. And I'm like, I never fucking threatened to kill you. And so then I respond. He goes from following me on Twitter. He follows like 300 people. I was one of the people to blocking me when I'm like, bro, I never threatened to kill your family. I said, your dad looked like the dude from Eugene Levy. Looks like Eugene Levy.
Yeah.
I'm like, that's not doxing. That's not like attacking. And so then he like blocks me. And so I'm like, okay, I'm now going to make fun of you. He looks just like the guy from the Village People. It's, you know, and so I'm like, I'm going to do that. I'm just going to make fun of you. And that's it. That's kind of how I roll. Like, I don't harbor a lot of like hatred for people. Every now and then I'll feel like I actually hate someone. And that's usually when I'm not funny. That's usually when I start becoming a little, there's just something about actual anger that makes you not as funny. So I try to keep that in check.
There's a reason why Shane Gillis does a good Trump impression and fucking Alec Baldwin does a bad one.
Because Alec Baldwin hates Trump.
You got to have affection for somebody to be able to do a good impression. Otherwise, you're just doing the Alec Baldwin, and you're like, what is that? It's not even Trump, dude.
Norm Macdonald said that. He said you can't do an impression of someone that you hate because it just like when people try and do that with me, they try and do an impression of me, and I love when people make fun of me. That's valid, like a good joke about me. I don't care if it's brutal, as long as it's like set in reality. But when they have that like nonsense world viciousness, I just think it's gross, you know?
See, like I always did a pretty decent Big Bear. I always did the guys. There's bicycles disappearing in Springfield.
That's funny.
It's not bad.
Yeah, like Ryan from Gavin's show does a really good impression of me.
He does a bunch.
I can sound like a bimbo. Like I can sound like a retard, and he nails that. He's like, bro, we got Gravy Bear here, dude. I think a penguin is fucking like that's funny to me. But when someone hates me and they try and do an impression, I'm just like, you sound like a demon or something. They're like, I'm just like, it's just like Alec Baldwin with Trump. It doesn't sound like Trump at all.
No, it doesn't. He's just angry.
Yeah, it's more Baldwin. Like that duck lips thing he does is like what Baldwin does. Like that.
Yeah.
Trump doesn't even do that.
Yeah, even without like Gillis, like Daryl Hammond did a really good
Trump.
Because he doesn't hate Trump. He just was like, I want to nail the impression. And then it just, I don't know how that fell apart.
There's a dude on Instagram, what's his name? Austin something. Have you guys seen this guy?
Oh,
it's like the best Trump I've ever seen. His name is Austin Nasso.
I think actually that name sounds familiar.
Dude, it's insanely funny.
Austin, okay, I found
it. It's like making fun of him in a way, but there's no hate in it, and it's...
Well, yeah, but you know what's happening now, though? I'm sure you've noticed it, too, is that a lot of these people are because, look, there was a time there where everyone was getting kicked off for just saying and retard and stuff. Like, all of us, we lost our YouTube channel, too. Like, we know, you know, it was the same thing. Have you noticed now everyone's kind of dipping their toes again because everyone was like, I don't really care what you say anymore. We're just going to do whatever we want. And other people that used to be more mainstream are getting a little bit edgier and they're trying to push it just a little bit more.
I'm not impressed until the N-word comes back.
No, yeah.
I'm not impressed.
I never quit.
Hold on. Patrice died. So he's not going to come back. I mean, I get it.
I'm just saying, like, you know, we joke around and stuff. I'm just saying that these, like the you know, when you see the mainstream kind of conservative ink people being like, I say gay and retarded. Whoa, that's ballsy, Daily Wire. Do the N-word next. And it's like, no, I'm not gonna do the N-word
well,
next.
Like Charlie Kirk reinvented himself.
Yeah.
Do you see that guy? He's like, I've always hated Israel. No, you haven't, you fucking liar.
It's easy to say faggot and retard because I'm not scared of gay people or retarded people. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and it's like I got kicked. I mean, Alex Jones wouldn't let me on his show, and he was like, "Owen Benjamin is toxic anti-Semite," and it was literally for making fun of Israel as a country and then just doing Jewish jokes. Like I didn't even hate Jews. I'm just like, yeah. And now me doing that almost looks like I'm a sympathizer because I'm not a big victim consciousness guy. I'm not like, oh, the Jews are doing shit to me. I just make fun of them. And now all those guys that were so brutal to me back then, they're all doing all the shit I said. And I thought that's why it's cool you guys are being cool. Because usually people double down and just play make-believe. And it's like, dude,
look, man,
we all saw what happened. I was like doing all these jokes, like the trans kid stuff, the fucking, all that stuff that now is like Daily Wire Inc. Fucking, they make all this money on it. And but it's okay. I don't need their approval at all. My special's coming out on Friday. Like all the things that led to us having to do Bertaria turned out to be a blessing, you know. And I even forgive you guys for calling it a land scam and shit like that because it was such a new idea. Yeah. I chalk it up to this. I'm like, it could sound like that because it's such a new idea that someone could be like, "What the fuck is that?" But it was absolutely necessary, and it's like turned out to be epic. I mean, we did a over 1,000 people festival where they're eating food from cows from that land for the price of less than a Joe Rogan ticket that we used to buy the land. And it was just, the audience built the stage. Like the audience, we have children playing, we have play structures. It's like all this shit that all these right-wing guys talk about, I actually do. And they're like, oh, it's a scam. I'm like, same with unauthorized. People said that was a scam. And I'm like, oh, now everybody knows that you got to do your own streaming platforms and all that shit.
No, you absolutely do. I mean, because the problem is that, well, I mean, look, man, especially after COVID, something else, man. So many people lost their channels over such dumb shit. And even a lot of places that purported to be free speech were all scared. Like, we always talk about, like, The Blaze is a good example of, like, we're free speech, we're this and that. And I was like, yeah, but all your shows are kind of on YouTube, so... we did a couple shows over there. They were like, okay, but you can't mention the vaccine or COVID. I go, what happened to
I got a story for you, bro.
Oh, the list of stuff we get when we go on these shows now, and it's like, whoa.
We did a show where we got a laminated paper that says, we're on YouTube. Make sure you don't say this, this, and this, and this. I'm like, well, fuck. What am I supposed to say?
Dude, when I was going to do Alex Stein's Blaze show, and bro, he said they didn't want me on because they thought I'd call Crowder gay. Dude, I tweeted the text because Alex was being like shady about it.
That's so funny.
And I'm like, fuck you, man. It was right before I canceled something with my kids and I'm about to do a show. And he's like, hey, man, they really don't want you to be on. I'm like, why? He's like, yeah, they're really scared of Crowder if you call him gay. I'm like, he's fucking a fruit guy,
Yeah.
And this is right before all this stuff came out and then after they're all making fun of him. And I'm like, it's just a bunch of cowards. I think it has to do with litigious shit. I think they're all just scared that Crowder's going to like sue him or something.
Well, they had a falling out too after that CRTV bit. So I'm sure they just want to steer clear of him.
Yeah, well, I mean, and honestly, I got to tell you, we're good friends with Stein. He's actually been really good.
I like Stein too.
But what you do realize is that there are some, and not just him, but there's a lot of people that are kind of trapped behind it. Like, look, you got a boss, and when you got a boss, at the end of the day, it doesn't matter who you are. It's like, look, you can either have a job or you're not going to have a job. You could have someone on. Or not have someone on. I mean, I don't know what happened with Stein too when he tried to have Ethan Van Sciver and who was it on?
Eric July.
Eric July on, and they were like set up to do it, and they got super mad at Stein and go, "You cannot have this guy on. You're not allowed." And I don't know, man, but doing your own thing is 100% like the way to go because I don't know if I could ever even if you get like a good deal, it's like how much money is it worth it not to be able to say what you want to say,
Yeah, I can go on your show and behave myself for like a half hour or so,
Yeah.
but I don't like getting told I have to behave. I'm like, if I'm doing my show, I want to do my show.
Yeah.
I can't be beholden.
Especially if it's like a good bit.
Yeah,
it's one thing if they're like, don't be an asshole. I don't mind that. But if it's like I did this bit, did you see my Sports Center one with the card, like right in the middle of COVID? It was when they were punishing Kyrie Irving, and we made a whole cartoon with that guy in ESPN. What's that Uncle Tom guy there?
Stephen A. Smith.
Yeah, and it's like, Kyrie Irving, you think you special? I did a whole thing, and then Shaq's like, come on, Kyrie. If you don't take the shot, they don't give me no banana. The whole thing. And Rockfin got pissed. They actually let me back on. It was one of my re-platformings. He didn't get the joke, and then he got the joke. And if someone said you can't do that bit, I would be like, fuck you. But if someone was just like, listen, this is a clean thing for families, I'd be like, no problem. But they can't limit me creative-wise. And the irony is me doing my own thing with farming and all this shit, I'm getting more... I'm actually going the other way. I'm more like grateful for the system now. I'm like, man, Amazon's great. Fucking Jews are great. I'm like, crushing.
That's the point. At the end of the day, look, you say whatever you want, but I like to get my stuff in like one day when I need it.
Totally. I'm so grateful now.
Yeah.
By the way, I like Alex Stein. I don't have an issue with. For me, it's just like, if you're going to play that role of anything goes, I'll take my dick out at a city council meeting and I tell all my people I'm about to do your show and then you cancel it and it's because I might call Crowder gay. I'm like, I get it. Like, I'm not mad. It's just a choice. It's like comfort and money versus like being hardcore. And everybody has a balance. Like, I pay all my taxes. I don't speed. Like, it's not like I'm some like pure rebel. It's just, just the Crowder gay thing. But I wish him well, though. I do wish that dude well.
It just, but it's like you said, it just kills me. It's always like everything I've ever lost, social media, money, opportunities, every single thing I've ever lost has been while I was in the pursuit of joking around. Like I've never, I dare anybody to ever find a time when I was genuinely like, these fucking Jews, we got to get rid of them, or these fucking like. It's literally, I'm usually just making a fucking joke, and then, like you said, it gets lost in translation, or the nuance isn't there, and they're like, yeah, sorry, we read your appeal, and we don't care. You're not getting your channel back. And it's
or
like,
they don't want you to free that group. I mean, I get so many Jewish listeners. They're like, man, you making fun of the Holocaust. I don't even have irritable bowel syndrome anymore. Like that stress. Like if you're just joking around about some super stressful topic, it actually helps that group. And so some people don't want that group to like chill out. And there's some conspiracy around that because if you're funny, I think the people that get hit the hardest sometimes are the actual funny ones that are like doing the controversial topics and it's like working. I think a lot of times the system or whatever likes actual hate guys because it almost like sets up their little chess game that they can play.
Well, yeah,
just joking around are actually more threatening, I think.
That's what I mean. It's what I used to always refer to as it's basically assembly line humor. It's factory humor. It's literally turn of the century. You got a black guy, a Polak, an Italian, an Irish guy, a Jew, and everyone's literally smashing each other the whole time. And then next thing you know, it's like, oh, it's time to go home. All right, time went by easy. But no, if you get everybody, actually fighting each other, it's a lot easier.
Well, that black guy in that group stole my wallet. And then the Jew tried to refinance my home. Well, the Irish guy punched his wife.
Well, the Jew's not on the assembly line. He just kind of walks by every once in a while, make sure everybody's doing their job.
Yeah, like Bryson Gray was funny. Like I was doing all the bike thief jokes, and he did a photo. He was like, yo, I did steal Owen Benjamin's bike, and it was a little girl's bike. And I was like, yeah, like that's how I grew up too. It's like that working mentality. Like you're doing a blue collar job and everyone's busting balls. It's actually how you get along.
See, that is a funny story till you find out Bryson Gray did actually end up stealing a little girl's bike.
It's weird. I don't know why he did that. He's very committed to the bit.
Facing charges. Yeah, he wasn't joking. I thought he was joking. It turns out he killed it.
Yeah. Well, listen, he's a character actor is what they say. He's got to do it. He's got to commit to the bit. Like my problem is this, and I want your take on this. What's worse, Kamala's Indian side or her black side? Because we're having a real tough time with this one.
Indian.
It's still Indian? Yeah.
Can I answer the question?
Yeah.
It's the woman's side.
Oh, fuck. You're right.
Really
definitely. Yeah,
it doesn't matter, really.
Yeah.
I got to say, the Indian thing was probably one of my favorite Owen Benjamin arcs lately. That had me fucking howling.
Were off air, like
I was openly saying this is the funniest shit Owen Benjamin's ever done. You went on every day and just put the boots to Indians, and it was again before everybody else started really piling on the Indians. And then about a month later, everybody's like, they do kind of suck, these guys.
Yeah, and I was getting hammered. I mean, there was an international incident. The government of India was trying to get Elon Musk to arrest me. Dude, I was getting WhatsApps of like my location. They're like, we're Modi's army. Dude, the Maldives are tweeting me because they don't like India at all. They think they shit everywhere. So the Maldives are like, thank you, my friend. You are bringing the truth about them. They invited my family to the Maldives. And I'm like, dude, I'm just kidding. It's a theme. I'll be done in like a week. But it was a fun theme. The thing about the Indians that can be rough is how much they accept lying. Like culturally, they'll just lie about the time. If they think it'll make you happy, they're like, oh, it is 2:00, my friend. And you're like, it's 4:00. They're like, but you wanted it to be 2:00 and that makes you happy. Yep. And that's a nightmare of like a president or something. And then the woman thing too. Yeah.
Obviously. Of course, the woman thing. But kind of something similar happened to us. We had made a joke, when the when the Turkish earthquake went around.
We can't ever set foot in the nation of Turkey.
Here's what happened.
We're in danger there.
So when the Turkish earthquake went down, we were playing the video, and I played the Tetris music as one of the buildings was falling. Funny. And then the next day, a big Turkish government thing posted it on Twitter going like, these people.
I've never had more Turkish people tell me they were going to
your
fuck my mother. I'm
They're
dead.
aggressive too. Turks are aggressive.
And then the funniest part about that is a week later, we got a message to the ROTC account going like, hey guys, I love your show. I'd love to give you guys free hair plugs on us. We'll pay for everything. We want you to advertise it. Just fly to Istanbul. I'm like, I'm not falling for that shit. I'm not going to go to fucking Turkey and get killed. Fuck that shit.
And honestly, just like you with the Maldives people, all of a sudden we started getting Armenian DMs.
Oh yeah, that's true.
Like, fuck yeah, dude.
Hilarious.
Fuck those They're
like, fuck those Turkish people.
They're
Fuck
like,
them.
dude, you're awesome, man. Fuck those guys. I'm like,
Dude, that's so funny. I was getting that from Pakistanis.
Pakis hate
like,
Indians.
Yeah, they hate
Pakis
Indians.
hate
They
Indians.
hate each other. And I just like stumbled into this shit.
Yeah.
I didn't know about their blood feud. And,
Oh, yeah.
and dude, there's so much emotion in that whole world. And they've been left alone. Probably like Turkey. Turkey probably isn't used to that because no one's doing like Turkish bits.
No, exactly. And all they saw was us laughing to the Tetris theme, and they were
like
incensed.
and they were like, people died. I'm like, I know, but the joke was still funny though. Like, I get it. And Turkish people were like, people were saying they were going to send the secret Turkish military to kill us, and I'm
assassins.
we're going to get assassins to come and get us, and I'm like, we just made a stupid fucking joke on the internet. But that's how it is, dude. Most of the death threats and shit, and I'm sure it's the same way that you've gotten, has been over just a bit or a joke. It's never like real. Like, bro, I'm not gonna go fucking kill a Turkish person,
Yeah, but that was also
Anybody that's gonna kill someone isn't gonna tell someone they're gonna like. The assassin's not gonna be like, "I'm coming, dude."
Yeah.
And I also want to say, like, in the beginning of our like feudy type era, I was unaware of YouTube culture. Like, I was still in that culture of like, this dude just like, it was almost like someone was saying it to my face. Like I had that boomer thing where I'm just like, no, fuck you, gay guy 69. And because I was like in the Hollywood world, like I didn't really pay attention to YouTube, and then I'm doing Prouder and all this shit. My YouTube gets big, and then I'm like kicked out of Hollywood, so I'm like focusing on YouTube, and it was a bad mix of factors because like now I totally understand it, where it's just people troll and talk shit and they try and get you to say something on air and all that. I was like, this is real life to me. And so as time went on, I now get it more. But at the time it was like brand new. Like I didn't know the rules of engagement when it came to trolls online. It's like a sport.
The instant feedback too. It just is. It's not always great
when you're not used to it. It's not,
all right. I can see "Kill All Jews for 2069" is not a fan. I can see that just from reading his comments.
And you're like,
and you have to go. I get it, dude. I suck. It's whatever.
And that's the thing
or they're trying to get you to freak out. Like the whole motivation is just like, let's see if we can say it's bad audio, and he'll start yelling.
Or when they do you're muted. That was another fun one when they tell you you're muted, and you're like, come on, man.
By the way, I just want
they're probably like jerking off, and then I'm like, oh my God, these guys are like rage jerking.
I want to make sure that I'm posting it in the chat. So I'm from your Twitter account. It's just owenbenjamin.com for the special because it's coming out in like what, 3 days?
It's coming out on 10/11. So Friday at owenbenjamin.com, only at owenbenjamin.com. It's called Must Be Nice.
I'm just posting it in the chat so people, check it
and
out.
I do one show a year, and I record it as a special. So unlike Joe Rogan, who had 6 years to fine tune his anal alien fucking jokes, I only had one show to do it. So
hey, look, somebody has to hump a stool, bud. Okay, someone's got to hump a stool.
Honestly, his last special was rough.
No, it was bad. It's the worst special he's ever done.
That Elephant Graveyard review?
No, was it bad? It was good.
It was, dude. He eviscerated it, and it was so well done. It's called Elephant Graveyard. It's just this dude psychologically breaks down the Rogan special, and it's just like a masterpiece.
Dude, he was doing a lot of like 2007, like aliens on weed, man. And you're like, really? We're doing the aliens on weed takes? It's like 2024, dude. Like we're about to start World War III, and you're just humping his stool and talk. Dude, wouldn't it be cool if like the cavemen took mushrooms, dude? And I'm like, I've been to high school already, Joe.
Also, Owen, it would have been great if you would have dropped your special on 10/7 and been the worst thing that's ever happened to Jews. 10/7, Owen Benjamin special.
I love it. Yeah, I mean, I was trying to get it 10/7, but I couldn't get it in time.
No, you could. Yeah, no. The Israeli government owns that day. You're not allowed. It's their 9/11.
The paragliders. Yeah. It's funny. My buddy's super into paragliding, and now he feels weird about it.
Can you imagine
He
if
loves paragliding.
you just picked up that hobby that year, and then you're like, God damn it, man! What the fuck?
No, it's
man?
like he's a hardworking dude, rough guy, but like the one thing that makes him super happy, I swear to God, is paragliding, and he talks about it all the time. And ever since the fucking incident, it's just like the spark's gone with the paragliding, because I think enough people just now associate it with like a raped fucking rave chick or something.
So what we were talking about in the first hour, but like, what's your take on Elon and what he's doing now? Because like we've been very weary of him.
I think he's the Antichrist.
Well, Merce thinks he's the Antichrist because he wants to put stuff in people's brains. But I said I thought the Antichrist was supposed to be cool. Elon's not cool.
It's a great question, man. I mean, the Skylink thing or Starlink is so good. If you guys ever tried Starlink,
bro. All I've been reading about is how fucking great Starlink is. Like, it's amazing. It works better than like your wired internet.
Dude, at our Bertarian land scam that you guys can apologize about, but it's in the middle. It's in the middle of nowhere, like nowhere, and we were getting like 80 megabyte download. Like my thing with the wire, like with an Ethernet cord, it was like 12. It was like 85, and it was just nothing. There was no. It was just the sky, and so. You know, when you control electric cars and all the data and Twitter and all the data and all the internet, it starts stacking up where you're like, man, this dude has a lot of control. And then I start thinking that he's probably just a face. Sometimes I think he's legitimately retarded. Like, I don't even think he's smart. And other times I don't know. I don't even know what to think about him, but I know that there's a lot of consolidation with that shit. And Starlink is a game changer because it's so fast.
Mm-hmm. It really is. And they were dropping it off at some of like the hurricane areas, and like it was like saving lives. So it's, but I think it's what you said earlier. We were talking about earlier. It's like, yeah, but Amazon rules. Like, it's one of those things where you know that there's something weird going on, but also like, yeah, but Verizon sucks. So like, it's gonna Starlink. Like it's kind of, I think a lot of the stuff in the modern world is kind of inescapable, you know?
Yeah, and it's consent driven.
Yeah.
I will say this, it actually is escapable. It's just, is it worth it?
Yeah, that's true.
Right now, you can literally trade in gold and silver, do all the paperwork to like do all this crazy shit, you know, not have a driver's license, all that. But you're going to have so many hassles that it's like, is it worth it? Like for me, it was the trans kid thing, you know, and then the vax and stuff like that. I was like, dude, I will grow my own food. Like, I will literally do whatever it takes to not have to like say you can put anything inside of me. Like, that to me is like a dystopian nightmare. But a lot of things I'm just like, yeah, I'll pay taxes. And my buddies will be like, no, there's this paperwork you fill out and there's this thing. I'm like, not worth it. Like, I wouldn't hassle. I wouldn't go down that road for that. And it's like that with the internet. It's like, yeah, I'll do Starlink. I'll do Amazon, unless they say they're going to inject me with a mystery fluid, and then I wouldn't, you know?
Well, I mean, that's what we just came with. The NIH today admitted that the fluoride in the water was actually, they had to finally admit it was actually dropping the IQ in children.
Yeah.
And now
we've known that forever.
Oh, yeah, no, that's
the thing we already knew.
The thing everybody was saying, and they called you an asshole for, or anybody for bringing up the fact that you're like, hey, but why do we need it in there? Because like you said about consent with the fluoride thing, it's always like, okay, but like, the argument's like, fluoride's good for this or that. I'm like, okay, but like, give me the option to put it in it. Give me my water without it. And it was always like, no, we're going to put chemicals. And I actually read a story about a guy that was secretly lowering, a guy who was super based, by the way, was secretly lowering the amount of fluoride they were putting without telling anybody. And then they fired him when they caught him.
Yeah.
Well, it's like the guy giving out fake vaxes for a while. Remember that?
Oh, that guy.
All the doctors and like hero doctors that were like, yeah, your 6-year-old doesn't need that. I'm just going to write on this piece of paper that I gave your 6-year-old the vax.
Yeah.
And they were going after those doctors. And I'm like, fuck that. That guy's a hero.
Yeah, we had our listeners actually, I don't care, I'll say it now, they were sending us like fake vax cards in the mail during
we
the
had
thing.
a stack of them like this. And then we're like, oh, fuck, we live in Florida. We don't need
them. We never really needed them. But we're like, well, we have them just in case.
Dude, I've talked to some pretty high level eugenics type guys, and their whole argument, they're like, it's so obvious though. So like, you're retarded if you don't see it. I'm like, yeah, but you put the fluoride in the water. They're like, dude, it's made from making aluminum. Like, obviously 4 out of 5 dentists like that, you fall for that shit. And then their argument is the strong rise, where they're like, if you can see through it, then you don't have to take it. And I'm like, Jesus, that's dark. But that's That's kind of how they view it. And there is a lot of consent to it. It is just about like, do you consent to this?
Yeah, and I'm proud to live in probably the least cooperative state in the country as far as like our citizens. We don't like here's my theory. Like Texans, I notice they're always like, yeah, free, we're Texans, blah blah blah. But if the boot that comes to step on your neck has a Texas flag on it, they will lick the shit out of that boot. As long as it's not a Fed boot.
Well, it's Abbott, so it's an atrophied leg.
Well, yeah, yes. It's an Abbott, but it's like, yeah, very pristine, clean boots.
Right, clean boots,
but,
never used one.
But in Florida, it's like we don't listen to the feds, we don't listen to state government. Like we're just like, nah, I'm just not going to do that. Like even when we had lockdowns, bars were open, restaurants were open. Like mayors were like, we'll fine you. And we're like, then fine us. I don't care. I'm still going to go out and have a drink and watch the game. Like, I don't know what to tell you, man. And they just couldn't.
Florida man's like a psyop almost to like mock you guys for that behavior because they like bothers people. But yeah, Florida doesn't comply. No. And a lot of Florida dudes are tough as shit too. Like those swamp guys.
Oh, dude, those fucking gator
panhandle dudes,
bro. The bayou gator dudes are nuts, bro. They live off the talk about living off the grid. They hunt alligators. They make moonshine, and it's what I tell people. It's like people go, DeSantis is a great governor. It's like no. Florida's great not because who's in charge, but it's just we're ungovernable. Like we just tell you, no, fuck off. I'm not doing what you want. I don't care. We're gonna do whatever we want, and for the most part. People leave us alone. For the most part, people leave us alone. There's a lot of dumb shit. DeSantis is some dumb stuff, too, but whatever. He would have been a terrible president, by the way.
Yeah, by the way, Governor DeSantis, amazing. Presidential candidate DeSantis was potentially one of the biggest disasters ever. That's
because he let the Jews create the hurricane in the Gulf.
But he's like, we're going to drone strike Mexico, and if you think Iran's got it bad now, you fucking wait, bro. And it was like, dude, calm down. Like, it was a very bloodthirsty campaign, and I was like, I don't know. I love DeSantis, but I'm kind of glad he's.
I like when he was wearing heels, though. That was fun when he was wearing heels.
That was hilarious. The heels are great. I like that he's good at baseball. Yeah. Makes me respect him because it means he has to be like good. It means he has to be able to think on some level. Yeah, because baseball is a hard sport. Well, Florida. Mickey Mouse is basically got a Vatican.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Think about that. Mickey Mouse, a fucking cartoon of a rat, is like we're gonna do our own country. We're gonna have our own military. It's crazy. Idaho is kind of like that too, but we're more like we don't comply either. But it's like Black Lives Matter tried to come here, and the streets were just lined with dudes with guns, and they just didn't come.
Yeah. Well, that's kind of the backbone of Florida. We get a lot of crazy Florida man stories, but your neighbors and everybody around here are generally everyone's polite because everyone has like 3 guns on them at all times.
Yeah, no, that's
so
true.
Everyone's just a lot more polite, and you don't just get out of your car and go, "You cut me off, you fucking pray." Like a lot of times you're like, "Hey man, just watch out for other people, man." Some guy cut me getting gas yesterday, and I went up to him politely, and I was like, "Hey man, like if it had been New York, you would have been like, you fucking piece of shit. Everyone's trying to get fucking gas." But I literally just went up to him and I was like, "Hey, my man." He's like, something like, "Just letting you know, man, you kind of cut in front of everybody." I'm just, whatever. And he's like, "Oh, my bad." And that was the end of it. That was the end of the discussion. I went pump my gas. He pumped his gas. And he's probably going to do it again. But I wouldn't have went up to him and been like, "Yo, what the fuck, dude?" Because it's Florida and everyone's just going to get shot. And there's gas pumps. Everyone would have just blown up.
Speaking of that on the hurricane, what do you think about all these people online now saying that the hurricane was made by the government to punish Florida, I think is what they're saying?
Dude, I don't even have an opinion. It's funny. Like, people think I'm this massive conspiracy guy, but it's like I can't even discern. I know you can alter weather, you can cloud seed, you can do shit like that, but there's no way you can claim intent. I don't know. It's like the left thinks it's cow farts. That other dude thinks it's Jews. It's a Jew on a cow farting. I don't fucking know.
It's Jews riding cows and farting, obviously, is what's causing climate change. Nobody wants to talk about the real problem.
Yeah, but we've lived here. He's lived here his whole life. I've lived here for going on damn near 20 years. And it's hearing people go, "I don't know, it's a little suspicious. October, and we're getting a storm in the Gulf." And we're like, this is literally the time and place for it. October is prime hurricane season, and the Gulf.
I'm with you, man. I think they're pumping up they're almost like feeding a conspiracy. Like I'm seeing all these like tweets and Weather Channel shit where they're almost like trying to get people to say that it's the government. Where they're like, "We've never seen anything like this." It's the way it's curving. It's so unnatural, and I'm like, I'm such a conspiracy theorist, and I'm like, that means it's natural.
100%. The moment that they said aliens were real, I'm like, they're fake.
Yeah, I'm like,
Dude, I'm like that too.
The moment they said it, we're like, they're fake. If the government admits aliens are real, I wanted them to be real, by the way. But the moment they say they're real, I'm like, they're fake. They can't be real. I don't trust these people at all.
Yeah. I'm like that too. I get like that.
It's like, I don't know. It's almost by design, like you said. There's so many conspiracies getting pushed now, and I'm noticing like a lot of people that are like people I respect, people I normally think are smart guys, and they're going like full blown fucking schizo over everything. And it's like, dude, you gotta look. Even if you don't believe it, you gotta relax a little bit, man. Because how much control do you really have over it? Yeah. I mean, well,
sometimes you'll see some shit where you're like, Ellen DeGenerate, like, that's a funny name for the first lesbian, you know, like shit like that. But just like chill and be like, that's funny. Like, oh, that's interesting. You don't have to be like, man, they're doing it to us. They're fucking, FEMA camps. I'm just like, no, you got to just be chill about it. Like, are things possible? Yeah. When they were swabbing dudes' assholes during COVID to get into China, I was like, they can take things very far. But, you don't really know. And sometimes it is just a breakdown of competence. I think sometimes the conspiracy mindset is it's almost comforting that someone's in total control when sometimes it's not. It's just a bunch of shit happening at the same time.
Yeah, well, I mean, when they swabbed my asshole, it was just to get into the Pulse Memorial down here, the Pulse Shooting Memorial, and I was like,
I was there when that happened. I was doing a corporate in Orlando that night. It was so funny. I did a corporate show, and everyone's like, oh, yeah, there was just this shooting at a gay bar. And I wasn't even paying attention to any of that shit back then. I barely thought about it.
Yeah, that was wild over here when that Muslim guy that was in the closet decided to kill other gay people, and now they're turning into Memorial Way. I think it's just going to be a double dong dildo or something. I'm not really sure exactly what the memorial is going to be.
I will say this, though. There is a fine line between nihilism and absurdity.
Yeah.
And I highly encourage my listeners all the time, reject the black pill, embrace the clown pill.
Oh, yeah.
You got to take the clown pill, man. You got to, if you can't, I've always said, my theory is there's two things at the end of the day they can't take from you. Your faith in whatever it is. I'm not telling you it's got to be Jesus or whatever your faith, whatever your core of your faith is, and your sense of humor. It literally is something that you have to voluntarily give up. Your food, your water, your fucking food stamps, your gas, all these luxuries you have in life, your internet, all that shit can be taken from you. If you can't let go of your faith or your sense of humor, because if you do, because you can even keep your sanity in a death camp if you hang on to those two things.
Oh, 100%. I mean? You're nailing it. That's so true. That's like when people are like, oh, you're really going to do their show? I'm like, if we can have laughs together, we'll be fine.
Dude, it's so funny. That's the same thing that happened to us. It's the same thing. People go, you're going to have them on. I'm like, yeah, if we're going to joke, it'll be fine. Like, but it's like
I've had close friends that have given me permanent scars on my face because we can still laugh. Like this whole thing of like, but what about I'm like, dude, if we can laugh, I'll know that we can get along, because what you just said about keeping your sense of humor, that demonic shift that happens in people, it's almost like they can't register humor, like where they just can't see that something's funny. And I'm just like, man, you just lost something. And it's with the faith thing, totally. And I'm like with you on that too, where it's like, whatever your faith is, like hope, hope was the last thing in Pandora's box. Like people that act like hope is bad are full of shit. And the black pill is a cope. The black pill is like, people scared to hope. And I find that I'm super optimistic, man. I think the future's bright as fuck.
Yeah, I mean, it's individually. I think individually, if you're taking care, if you're living in the right spot, you're taking care of your family, you're doing what you got to do for the people around you, you're going to be fine. But that's also because I'm not living in the south side of Chicago. Like so if you look at the country as a whole, yeah, the black pill is easy to take and also the black pill, we've said it too. Okay, so you're giving up. You're saying they won. They won. You're a slave. I'm done. There's no hope. Fuck it. No, I'd rather laughing at here's the thing I've learned, and I'm sure you've learned this too. You absolutely have. Nothing bothers people that are evil more than when you do not take them seriously. They want you to scream at them. They want you to hate them. They want you to call them names. They want you to call them pedophiles. They want that because they like it, because they're not. But the moment you go, you're a fucking retard, bro. I don't care what you think. That's when I've had they lose their minds, because in their heads, they are serious people. And to us, fucking jokes. Your jokes to me. You don't pay my bills. I don't give a fuck what you think about me.
It's like people that get mad at David Hogg when he comes on Twitter and he's like, we need to take everyone's guns away by force. And everybody's like, I'll fucking kill you, you little faggot. And meanwhile, all I do is look at him and go, by force. Come on,
That's
Dave.
why I got kicked off Twitter was David Hogg. I said, you guys remember that? I said,
Yes, I do remember.
I said, I'm not going to take gun advice from someone who can't grow pubes. And people said I was
that's right. They were trying to say he's like a pedo and he was sexualizing.
Yeah, that I was a pedophile.
And you're like, he's 18. And I made a pubes joke.
And the intent is so obvious.
Yeah.
It's like, you're not a man. You don't get to tell me I can. And the same with like look at my two bears here. I have the Palestinian and the Israeli. Like,
nice. They get along.
Can't laugh at that. I know there's something off. You know, you got the fucking full gear here and then the gear here.
I like it.
And so, like, just simple things like that. And if someone's like, oh, how dare you? How dare you? I'm like, dude, there's something off about you. People in war zones will laugh about shit better than people, just some asshole on the internet.
Well, it's true because like even with us, like even if it's somebody, look, what we were saying earlier, even if it's somebody that we might have a problem with or upset with, if they're funny, we always go, look, I might not, but that was funny. Like with the Indian stuff, we were like, look, whatever, we got our problems, but like that's objectively funny, and I don't really care if I don't like the person or don't like the person. To me, funny takes precedent over any of that shit. You know,
I've had people I hate make me laugh, and I'm going,
and you're angry because you don't like them.
Begrudgingly be like, God damn it, that was really funny.
And you're like,
yeah, like I'm objectively funny, and so it's like sometimes people hate. I do say crazy shit sometimes, and I do stuff, but I'm like, I'll like look at them and be like, so you're telling me nothing I've made is funny? Like you're gonna look at me in the eye and say none of it's funny, and I'm like, you're fucking lying. Dude, I legit think that.
One of the hardest times Owen ever made me laugh was when was the night I was doing the Crowder shit.
Oh,
and
yeah,
we were feeding him all the info, and I emailed him the clip of Tim talking about being bisexual, and I had it timestamped. And Owen pulls it up, and literally without even hitting play, Steven Crowder was like this, without skipping a beat, he goes, oh, I'm already convinced he's gay. I was fucking dying just based on the freeze frame. He's like, oh yeah, I'm already convinced he's gay. I don't even need to watch this.
That was quick. I just saw it. It all clicked as soon as you go, oh, that explains all the touching.
And I was like, fuck, that was pretty fun. God damn it.
Dude, a lot of you listeners are like, why won't you admit that they called out Crowder first? I'm like, I've never not. Like, why are you yelling at me? Like, obviously, they knew the Crowder thing before me. Like, it's like obvious.
To be fair, I don't think we ever said that you took credit for it.
No, a lot of the listeners.
No.
A lot of the listeners do that.
Yeah,
but again, I don't discourage them because it's the same. It's the Nick Fuentes method where it's like people are spamming about me on Twitter.
Yeah, it's true.
So I'm like, it can't hurt, right? Like, you're in the replies on a big tweet. I'm like, oh, cool. At least my clip's in there. Actually, that was
I just let him know that I would never take credit away from people because you guys were way ahead on the Crowder stuff and like some other shit too. I remember
that was the video that eventually got my solo Nightwave.
Yeah, you lost your channel.
Was the Owen, Benjamin, and Mersh, like when I was sending him stuff about Crowder? It was the hour-long segment, and I guess it was a little too homophobic, and they nuked me.
But then that means that YouTube is admitting that Crowder is gay because it was only a hate crime if Crowder's gay. If he's not gay, calling somebody gay, who cares? So they're admitting that Crowder is gay.
Because you guys aren't taking the devil seriously. I think that's way more of a factor than people think. Like, you're more competitive.
Yeah.
It's a compliment, especially when you're not doing like horrible shit, because they're like, you're competitive. Like, you can maintain an audience. You can, make fun of shit that people take super seriously. And that intimidates these corporate entities because they want,
Well, they want order. They want order, and I think what you said earlier is true because we've talked about it. Because a lot of people think like, who's really in charge of the government? I don't think there's like this one evil person with a cloak.
Yeah.
I think that the machine was built in such a way that it runs without a leader. It just runs in a just machine corporate way where every cog is like interchangeable, except it's like that movie Snowpiercer where now they're changing it with the kids they're molesting. But still, it's like that, and the fact that, when people go like, oh, yeah, well, Epstein was doing this for who was they sending it to? There was like not a who. There's entities. There's organizations. There's just this big conglomerate that people don't want to admit it. We built this prison ourselves. Like, if humans, we built it ourselves.
It's our behavior. I did a sketch. I think you guys would dig. It's called Hate is Great. It's like it's a hate group, and they just keep realizing it's their behavior. They're like, it's all Idaho'd out. We have guns. We have like masks and camo. And we're like, what do the Jews love? They love their debt and their money and their loans. So how do we stop these Jews? And we're like, we gotta not take out loans. And one of the guys like, but I just got a new jet ski. Fuck, man. And then it's like alcohol or like porn.
Yeah.
And we're like, we gotta stop watching the porn. And one guy's like, I just got this really fast internet, and I just it's just us. It's just all consent. And at the end, you realize that, the thing that people are yelling at, they're just doing, and they're begging for. They're just begging for it. And that's why I don't have hate for any of these groups, because I'm like, just don't take the offer. Like, it's just an offer. You don't have to fucking do it, you know?
And by the way, even if they do, I don't judge them either, because again, like we were saying earlier, Amazon's awesome. Yeah.
Jews didn't force me to put money on the Steelers Monday night.
Yeah,
you know
exactly.
what I mean? So like they're
middlemen.
That was my choice.
I'm like, if your desires get more wholesome, they will sell you like shovels and hoes and seeds and shit. They just sell shit. They're middlemen. They're like, I'll give you a great deal on it, fucking chicken. And like, they'll do whatever. They're just doing merchant shit. And it's fractal. Like, you go into a prison, someone's going to do the Jew thing. It's, like, it's just a black guy. He's got cigarettes. He's trading them for shoes. He now has debt. He's keeping a card. I'm like, it's human nature.
Yeah, but what if I don't want Newports? Is there a white guy selling them? Because I don't like menthol. It's the problem I have.
Cross the racial line without having problems.
You think Bernie Madoff was like selling cigarettes in federal jail?
Because
he's a natural hustler, you know?
He had disdain for all of his investors. He's like, they knew what they were getting into.
Yeah, they're pieces of shit.
I mean, the reason he got popped is because a lot of the people he took advantage of were the wrong
Holocaust
people.
Museum? Yeah.
It was like, he fucking stole from the wrong group of people. If he was just ripping off cold calling doctors and lawyers across the country, he would have gotten away with that shit.
It just bothers me the Holocaust Museum doesn't have a Ferris wheel. That like really bums me out.
Bro, do you see my bits about that? I want a franchise. I'm like, how do I get a franchise? I'm like, can I open one? And I'm doing this whole thing about
in Orlando, next to the Titanic Museum is Owen Benjamin's Holocaust Museum.
Bro, I'm like, I'm just all business. I'm like, all you need is fucking shoes, some teeth. Mm-hmm. I can charge $80. I'm like, it's the best business plan. I'm like, who do I get a franchise from? And that's the shit that they hate, because you're not mad. You're just like funny about it,
Owen gets too into it because he's too competitive. I think 12 million died. Yeah. I'll go higher. I don't give a fuck.
I'm a Holocaust supplier. I'm like, it's $6 billion, man. Let's fucking take this thing.
How Owen Benjamin went from Holocaust denier to Holocaust exaggerator.
I supply it.
Yeah.
I think it was more, man. I think it's way more.
I need to see that Ben Shapiro segment on Owen Benjamin when he opens up a fucking Holocaust. This is disgusting, folks.
Okay, folks. Okay, first off, I want to tell you about Owen Benjamin, but I got to tell you about Bull and Branch sheets that come with pre-cut holes so Jews could have sex through them. Mm-hmm. I'm like, come on, man, shut up. By the way, nobody cares about. You've noticed that too. Like from
his star is fading.
Ben Shapiro, his Star of David is fading.
His Star of David is fading.
Nobody cares about Ben Shapiro anymore. And honestly, whether you like Candace Owens or not, she completely cucked him and left. Like, she cucked him hard and made him look like a little twerp.
Yeah, they're scared of black women. It's like they're kryptonite.
Yeah, it's like they're in a movie theater or something.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I'm scared of black
Spirit Airlines
terminal. I also am scared of black women there too.
Yeah, Candace just starts doing her thing, and they're like, "Oh, okay. Well, I guess we have to comply." I mean, Jesus.
Yeah. Okay, folks. She's friends with Kanye West. We have to be very careful.
A British lord found her on the African safari.
Yeah.
I was doing this whole bit about, have you seen her husband?
Yes.
He's like, he's so gay too.
Allegedly. Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Where he's like, the thing about Candace is she's this eloquent beast, and I found her traded with a medicine man. Dude, it's like he's talking like it's like fucking
eloquent beast.
Rhodes.
Yeah, he's talking about her skull shape like he's her phrenologist.
Oh, totally. He's like, there's a bone through her nose, and I civilized her. He said that they didn't go on a date before they got engaged. He was like, dude, word for word, he's like, I watched her speak, and there was so much visceral power in her. And I'm like, dude, are you talking about a fucking rhinoceros, man?
Well, they
Like,
never went on a date before they were engaged because England doesn't have any red lobsters. So
totally.
That's the real
I
problem.
love it. I love it.
Don't worry, I'll simply get one all-you-can-eat shrimp, and then you can eat off of my plate. All right.
She's flipping a wig.
And then Ben Shapiro goes, she's eating shrimp. Jewish people cannot eat shellfish. She's a personal shot at me. I will be suing her again.
Yeah, I love when he promotes Blue Apron.
Shapiro fucking, he's out.
He's off the deep end. Nobody takes him seriously anymore. Even like the little nerds, because that's who likes Shapiro. Nerds.
You can tell he's bad. He's hard up now because he pays for bots to prop up his main Ben Shapiro account, but he doesn't pay for bots to prop up his Ben Shapiro show account. So if you really want to see his metrics, look at the tweets that the Ben Shapiro show tweets versus Ben Shapiro. He's just paying for bots to prop up his shit. Nobody reacts to his show. Nobody's watching his shit anymore. The hottest thing he had on the network was Candace Owens.
Yeah, no, that's true. And then she's gone. And then everyone moved to Nashville and he moved to Boca, which, come on, stereotype? Like, you don't want us to make fun of you, but come on, bro. Like, what are we supposed to do with that information? But yeah,
also,
man,
nobody benefited from the whole Steven Crowder secret recorded phone calls.
Oh, my
paranoid
God.
Richard
Dude,
Nixon
I told
tapes.
everyone that was coming. People said I was crazy. I'm like, because like, when Crowder was on the air and he was like, I'm worried about Owen Benjamin. I mean, I've tried to call him. He won't answer his phone. And people were asking me about that. I'm like, the fucker records his calls. I'm like, he always does that.
Which is
I'm
another
like,
gay guy trait.
wife broken up. The not gay Jared thing is not what people said. He's fucking, and I'm like telling everybody that. And they're like, oh, you're simply jealous. You're full of hate. And then it all comes true. And I'm just like, yeah, he fucking records his calls all the time.
That is a legitimately psychopathic thing to do.
Hey, I'm going to send you one of our shirts on. We have a shirt that says, fight like hell with your pregnant wife, that we sell.
Oh, God, can I tell him the story?
You got to hear this. You're going to love the story. You're going to love this story.
Oh, no, this story is brutal.
Okay.
So we were in Miami for the GOP debates. Like, Rumble said, do you want to come down? We're like, yeah, awesome, be a part of the thing. It's like a 2-hour drive. We go down there. We did some shows at like locals or whatever, and then we went to get our passes. I'm wearing the Fight Like Hell with Your Pregnant Wife t-shirt based on Crowder's design, and I'm outside having a cigarette, and I left my jacket in the studio, so I'm outside smoking. Royce comes out, we're chatting it up, we're getting ready to leave, and this old guy comes up, and he's standing there, and I'm smoking. He goes, I'm like, you looking for locals? He's like, yeah. I'm like, you got to punch in a code, and they'll let you in. And I punched it in for him. I'm like, just wait a few minutes. He's like, all right, we're smoking a cigarette. Yeah, and he looks at my shirt and goes, oh, Fight Like Hell, that's awesome. Where did you get that shirt?
He didn't read the whole thing.
And I was like, it's on our website. We have it on our website. It's like and he goes, oh, that's a Steven Crowder design. And I go, well, this is like a parody. It says Fight Like Hell with Your Pregnant Wife.
And then he goes, yeah, he's my son.
He's my son. And I'm like, oh.
He was there with his Asian lawyer, too.
I literally looked at Crowder's dad. I was like mortified. And all I did, remember, I just literally kept smoking, but I turned around.
Yeah.
So I just literally I just stopped looking at him like, all right, if he's behind me, he's not there. And then I was like, oh God. And then Bill Richmond showed up, saw the same shirt, and I'm like, it's like 304. It's the code. It's 304.
We gotta go.
And I was like, dude, go get my phone. And my phone and my shit was inside. Royce had to walk back in there. But I was mortified. We laughed about that all fucking.
Yeah,
and then at the GOP debates,
Oh,
Bill
yeah.
Richmond was 2 rows ahead of me. And every time he would turn around, I'd be like, ah. It was so awkward, man.
Yeah,
dude, that's legendary. I mean, there's so many angles. I mean, what would you do in that situation?
The only reason that we didn't make a stink was because we got these passes to go to this thing.
It's the right move to not make a stink.
Because
that's literally why I just had my cigarette
it.
and
we would have.
I literally just turned 180 and was like, if he's behind me, he's not there.
Dude, I would have made weird small talk. I'd be like, so you guys keep in touch with her anymore or no? That worked. I would have just that's how I would have tried to smooth it out. I'd be like, yeah, it's pretty crazy what went down. I mean, fuck.
And you're like, is it weird that where do you send the kids' birthday cards? His house, her? How does that work?
Mm-hmm.
Who do you? Oh my God! And then you go, hey, does Crowder not have any Ring doorbell cameras out of protest? Also, because that really fucked his life up. Those Ring doorbell cameras fucked his life up. And I like how he tried to be like, oh, you don't have the whole story. I'm like, look, in any story, you're not the good guy here. You know what I mean?
I mean, look, if a clip came out of Owen talking to his wife like that, everyone on the internet would be going, "All right, man, we got to cover this. Like, this is insane."
I do talk to my wife like that because she deserves it because she's a woman. But that's different.
No, but for me, it was the contradictions. It's not about fighting with it. Me and Amy have had some crazy fights. It's not even like judging like people. Yeah, it's that he's this guy who's so paranoid about Muslims that he like doesn't let anyone know he lives. He's like super paranoid, but yet he's putting his pregnant wife in a fucking Uber. I'm like, they're only driven by Arabs. Like, I've never had an Uber not be an Arab. I'm like, that doesn't make sense to me. And those like weird contradictions. That's when I was like, dude, you make millions of dollars.
Yes.
You can't, like, your wife can't have a car.
That's what we said. The moment that we said
that's a control freak thing.
Yeah, that's weird. It's like, what do you mean she can't have a car?
Like, this is a sick man. Dude,
listen, I don't want women to drive either. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah, but until we pass that law,
she has every right to drive a vehicle.
Right, exactly. No, I'm with you guys. No, and how funny, have you seen that sketch I made with them years ago where it's the hate crime sketch.
I think
where he's the judge.
Yeah, the
courtroom one. Yes, I remember
that.
She's
in it.
His wife in it says, my husband is a Your Honor, right to Crowder, and Crowder's like, your husband's a and it's like we're writing the future. It was crazy how that went down.
Well, because a thing
he was always so awkward about her, and every time I'd seen a picture, I'd be like, she's fucking gorgeous.
It was weird.
Stunningly gorgeous.
Really nice
and he's so awkward around
nice.
her, and I'm like,
super nice.
I'm not saying you got to be all public display of affection and grab assy, but it was like he was always very like, and you're like, how are you not comfortable with this chick? She's so hot.
The thing I will say about Crowder, he's super hardworking and he is good at what he does and he is laser focused, and so you can miss some of that shit. But looking back, I mean, dude, I would be staying at their house and I'd be wearing socks and he'd be like looking at lint, like little, like cotton microfibers on white carpet. And he'd be like, dude, this is a disaster. And I'm like, I took my shoes off. Like in my mind, I'm like, I fucking took my shoes off. What do you want? That OCD shit is so telling sometimes of a twisted mind.
That's some Nathan Lane gay behavior, though, right? Like, that's some, like, it's not perfect. It's not, come on, man. And he's another one, I got to tell you, like, at least for me, and it's not for any other reason, but, like, he's another one whose stars kind of faded out. And he's not making, the last thing.
No one fucking cares.
Yeah, nobody cares anymore. We're like, nobody. The problem is, like, there's so many other people doing funnier things now that are better and smarter, and he's just doing the same, like, the new conservative media turned exactly into the mainstream media. Was like that. It was boom. It was immediately they the same structure. If you don't like someone, they ice you out, and you were mean to that person, so you can't come on my show. And you're like, okay, so you guys are exactly the same, if actually not worse than the mainstream media. Because, they're worse because they pretend to be free speech and they pretend to be on your side, but they're not really free speech.
They're like doing hospice for boomers, basically. They're just regurgitating what they want to hear and just sucking up their cash. It's like, can you believe Nancy Pelosi today? It's just like, come on, man. Like, give us something.
Yeah, we know Nancy Pelosi.
Themselves. Yeah.
No, exactly. And it's like, let me guess, libtards are the real racist? We know, man. Like, we know, bro.
My favorite is whenever somebody goes, can you believe what they're doing in D.C.? Yes, I can believe it. I believe it. I see it every day. I'm pretty used to it, bro.
But then you start saying what we do. So you go, I don't know if this happened to you, but what happened to us was like, we used to do like the full 2 hours of the show was politics, but also comedy. Then it turned into the first hour was politics, and then the second hour, like, we're going to do news stories and stuff that's not politics or funny stuff because I can't. And now it's like 30 minutes of politics. I can't because it's just a cycle. It's the same shit over and over again. And everybody on the front page of every conservative is saying the same talking points. They're all saying the same shit, and it's like, this sucks. Like, what is this?
And it's all outrage. Everyone's just trying to farm out. That's why I really don't even fuck with Twitter anymore.
Yeah, that's right.
Every time I log in, it's like, aren't you furious about this? And I'm like, no, man, I don't
spiraling. They'll like be going to me. They're like, Owen Benjamin is a Jewish gay trans man who drinks turpentine. And I'm like, dude.
Whoa, whoa. You're like, whoa. Only half of that's true. Okay, bud.
Listen, we can address Turpentine Gate as well.
Oh, hey, what's up? What was that? Were you really drinking turpentine?
No, there's this thing. Dr. Jennifer Daniels was talking about a cleanse where it's like pine gum spirits. It's not like art supply turpentine. I'm just addressing this because there's a lot of people that are like, he's fucking drinking turpentine. It was just a thing that I was talking about for 1 week where you just put a few drops of it in a sugar cube. You don't eat any sugar, and then that like kills parasites. Turpentine is in fucking vapor rub. Like that's the main thing. When you're smelling that, like that's turpentine. And turpentine used to be like a medicine in the Merck's guide until the early 20th century. It's just pine. It comes out of a pine tree. So no, I was never drinking turpentine.
Well, it makes sense because I'm a spick, and the only medicine we would give each other as kids was Vicks. It was funny, like
that was it. That's turpentine.
But the entire internet is basically just like a playground in school. It's basically like it's like this pine tar. It's the same stuff they make turpentine out of. Yo, this drinking turpentine, y'all. Yo, he drinking turpentine. Everybody's like, yo, you drinking turpentine? You're like, no, I'm not. Fuck, God damn it, man. Like,
one of our favorite bits. One of our favorite bits is.
I see how it sounds ridiculous. I can get it. That's why I just want to let people know I'm not literally drinking fucking.
Well,
turpentine.
I mean, you'd be dead by now if you were. So you're
especially art store turpentine is literally poison.
Yeah,
it's basically like pine sap. And it's mostly the smell. It like cleans out your nasal passages. And I'm not even like into it. This was like years ago.
It was a long time ago, to be fair. Look, the truth is, we go back and we listen to some of our old stuff, and we said some fucking retarded shit that we were wrong about. It's like part of it, but I think when it comes to that kind of stuff, it's like, and obviously talking to you now too, like we all change a bit. Everyone changes their
totally.
Over time. You go, oh God, what a fucking retard! How did I not notice that? And you start thinking like, back in the day, I was actually I think I was talking to my wife about it because it was funny, and she's like, "Are you gonna bring up the flat Earth thing?" I go, "Look, I don't really care if the Earth is flat or round. All I care about is we're gonna bond that Indians keep shitting on it, and it doesn't really matter what the shape is."
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and I've learned that it's a lot better bridges are built because I don't know what the fuck it is. It could be a giant ball. I just don't think it's the ball the size they claim.
Right.
It's like, dude, I'm not emotional about it. I'm not going to make a claim. I'm just going to say I don't buy what Steel to Bike Tyson is saying. And who fucking
Mike Tyson is good.
Because that's, I think the trigger, because I do understand that. Like people will be like, globetards and this is the only way to God and all this stuff. And that can come across as really annoying. And then also, like, I don't fucking know what's in Antarctica, I know that, like, the treaty's weird, the fact you can't fly a plane over it. Like, there is factually strange things about it and all these anomalies. But then I don't, it's not a defining characteristic. And I don't know. I don't know what it is,
Well, it's another great great example with that is, like, we were talking earlier about the hurricane and how it was like the Jews made the hurricane. And our producer, Pessy, pointed it out, who, by the way, is Jewish. And he nailed it. He goes, why would Jews send a hurricane to the place where all the Jews live? Florida.
Yeah. I thought about that too.
It's funny. Florida. That's where they all live. Like, why would you attack yourself? Oh,
it's like not those Jews. It's the different Jews.
Oh, it's the different ones. Yeah. It's
the bit I did in my special Friday on OwenBenjamin.com. I was like, all these truthers get mad at the Jews for the weather. I'm like, no one ever thanks them for a nice day, though.
Oh, thank you.
If you get the blame, you should get the credit. Yeah, for sure.
That's a really good point.
So many days are so beautiful, and the least you can do is thank your local Jew, and then it's always negative. It's everything bad, but all the beautiful days, you never thank the Jew.
No. Hey, guys.
What if the Jews are fighting the Chinese and the Chinese are constantly making the bad weather and the Jews are just working overtime to try to stop these hurricanes?
Yeah, that's actually, you know what?
Weather wars.
OwenBenjamin.com.
We went over.
Yeah, Must Be Nice is the special, right?
Yeah.
October 11th.
Nice. You guys will dig it. I sent you guys
yeah, I got it.
Black joke. There's some racial stuff, but it's super clean. I don't even swear in it, but it's I got some good racial stuff in there.
So yeah, it's coming out on Friday. Go check it out. Hey man, this was great.
Yeah,
man.
Come on again.
For real.
We're buddies now. I get it. I love it. We can
cool,
laugh together, and hopefully this resonates out with other young men.
I hope
We're
so
like,
too.
Dude, you can just laugh it off. It's fucking
it's
fine.
easier.
You know how many mistakes I made, how much shit I'm wrong about all the time?
Yeah.
How many things I say to people where I'm like, what the hell was I thinking? That's why I say I might be wrong, but I'm not lying. It's all about just being authentic and having a laugh.
Yeah, man. Hey, thank you so much for coming on, dude. That was great, and we hope to have you on again, man. And I'm glad we did this. This was awesome.
Yeah, for sure, dude.
All right, man.
Thanks again.
Take it easy, dude. See you later.
Yeah,
Bye-bye.
guys. Must Be Nice is the special. OwenBenjamin.com. OwenBenjamin on
Let me go through these donations.
That was fucking cool, man.
Dimitri says the trolls, Owen's #1 fans, are out in force. SPLC Investigator donated $2 and says, all you guys ever do is talk about talk about Opie.
Opie.
Move on. SPLC Investigator, who is this guy? You never mentioned him before. Kill Dotson said, hey, ask Owen if he gets all his ideas, where he gets his ideas from. You guys are such dicks. King of all pixels. This is unbelievable. Huh?